Yo, it's CJ. Welcome back to another video, dear viewer. After spending hundreds of hours in Path of Exile 2, I wanted a change of pace, so I dove back into Diablo 4, specifically Season 7, because I had heard it was the best state that D4 has been in since release, and I hadn't played since Loot Reborn, which was Season 4. I wanted to check the game out. I knew Season 4 was the big turning point for D4. Basically, it was where D4 should have been at launch, so we knew that now D4 had a solid foundation to build upon. Here's why I'm hooked and how the progression's been playing out for me so far. The thing with Diablo 4's Season 7 is that it really hits the spot for players looking for that quick satisfaction. It's easy to level up, there's loot everywhere, and you feel like you're always making progress, but that also becomes a double-edged sword. The problem is, it speeds up too fast. You reach level 60 in just a couple hours, then the grind slows drastically. You reach the top so quickly that you're left wondering, what's next? And there's so much fucking loot, it's insane, which again is a blessing and a curse, especially since there's no loot filter. You end up just rushing Torment 1 because the Ancestrals become available, ignoring all legendaries, and since Torment 1 came so fast, before you know it, you have full Ancestral, and now you're only looking for G8 items, or greater affixed items, and then maybe after that, you're only looking for double G8 items. You get the point. But honestly, by the time you get to all single G8 items, you are basically picking up nothing, but you are getting hundreds, if not thousands of legendaries dropped, which you just leave on the floor because it's pointless. Not to mention, at this point, you're already so overpowered, you one-shot most bosses, it's a joke. But despite saying all of that, it's chill, like super chill, brain off, relaxing gameplay. Root holds are nightmare dungeons taken in a good direction, which I hope gets expanded on in the future. The witch powers are cool. I hope similar systems stay in the game, and I hope again that they expand upon these post Season 7. Other than that, I'm enjoying that for the little time I have to put into the game, I'm getting a lot out of it due to the excessive amount of rewards. The other things I'm enjoying about D4 are less to do about the season, so like the Undercity game mode is cool, Infernal Hordes are cool, but the sad thing is both aren't very good for rewards compared to doing the seasonal, so Whispers. Well, Undercity is good for Obdicite, and as much as I like doing nightmare dungeons, there isn't much reason to do them. And also a lack of being able to modify skills in cool and wacky ways outside of uniques and aspects. The rune system with the Vessel of Hatred expansion is cool though. The occult gem system that came with the season is pretty meh. I get that they're overpowered jewels, but they're so rare, and yeah, I mean, they're just that, overpowered jewels. Now, while the seasonal content has its charm, running the same content repeatedly, like Whispers and Root Holds, does get a little stale. Yeah, there are different things to do, like the Undercity or boss farming, but let's be real, the challenge just isn't there once you're at a high level. What I've realized is that D4 is definitely more of a chill brain off type of game, where the focus is less on hardcore mechanics and more on laid back enjoyment with quick rewards. I've also been experimenting with all the classes. I first started with a rogue, then a Spiritborn because I hadn't tried it yet, Barbarian, and now a Necro, and it's been fun. But I can't help but notice that there's a real lack of creative freedom in terms of build diversity. This has always been there since the start of D4, and I hoped it would improve by now, but really just hasn't. There's just not much depth compared to PoE2, where every class has a lot more possibilities and choices to make creative builds. Once you hit that sweet spot in D4 where you're one-shotting bosses and maxing out gear, it feels like there's nowhere else to go. You're farming for gear, but for what? There's nothing left to conquer other than the pit, which honestly isn't much of a challenge either, and more comes down to picking the right class with the right meta build. Kinda sucks that once you hit this point, and like I said, it happens pretty fast, there isn't much reason to get stronger besides the pit, and that's literally it. There's no challenging content or fun things to do. Like, even as early as like level 30, you're a god, and once you hit max level, it feels basically no different. So what D4 really needs is more things to farm, more systems to level up, or maybe something like a hideout system from Escape from Tarkov, where you could really invest into the world and build something for your character. I know that there's the den, but it's not really something that you can farm for or build upon, really. That would add so much more depth to the end game. I'm definitely a solo player, but D4 is a great game for chilling with others too. Like when I was farming seasonal content with my partner, it's the perfect game to just kick back and talk while farming loot. Overall, D4 will keep me entertained for the vibe it's going for. It's a fun, chill experience, but it needs more content for me to stay long term. If they want me to stay invested for longer than just the season, or at least the start of the season, they need to add more depth and challenge, which I'll be diving into more in my upcoming wishlist video, where I'm going to talk about my wishlist for for both PoE 2 and D4. Now PoE 2, that's a whole different ball game. It has a lot more long-term potential with its depth and creative builds and variety. It's not even close right now, and that's the type of ARPG I'll always keep coming back to, especially with GGG as the devs. PoE has been getting it right for years when it comes to ARPGs. It keeps evolving, keeps getting better, and if they keep pushing forward with this kind of development, it'll always have my attention. PoE dethroned Diablo for me years ago, but the game still holds a special place in my heart, having grown up played the games and like D3 or watching my older brother play D2 as a kid. PoE became pretty much everything I wanted D3 to become and more. D4 is pretty much just D3 plus, with pretty graphics, new engine, and an MMO open world. But honestly, even Lost Ark does that better than what D4 does. Honestly, Lost Ark is actually such a good fucking game. It sucks that the late game was so elitist and pay to win, but like all of that aside, it is such a good game. The raids were cool as fuck, but I digress. So yeah, there you have it. D4 is great for what it's trying to do. Quick progression, fun seasonal content, and a chill vibe. Great for casual players. But PoE 2, with its depth and long-term content, is where I see myself sinking my hours long-term. I'll always keep coming back to D4 though for the seasons that appeal to me, especially if they add more content to keep it fresh. If you enjoyed hearing my thoughts, make sure to subscribe for more updates as I dive deeper into both games and share my thoughts on what they need to improve. I'll see you in the next one, dear viewer. Peace.
For the final gates to open to a new tomorrow.